toxicity out? Your skin?
Sweating?
Sweating? When you have a fever? Rash? When you have a fever? Your body's trying to get toxicity out as fast as it can. We have different systems in our body that can eliminate toxicity. Our bowels, everybody knows about, right? Our bowels can eliminate waste. But what about your skin? What about your lungs and your respiratory system? What about your cough, your mucus, your snot, your yuck and stuff? Is your body trying to get stuff out?
Yeah.
Right now, aggressively, I need to get this toxicity out. What if you take the cough syrup and the decongestants, and what if you take that? Are you damming up the stream? Are you shutting down the body's own process of getting the toxicity out? Diarrhea, urinary tract, your body's trying to get toxicity out. There's 3 causes for toxins to build up in your bloodstream. Number 1 is taking in more than you can eliminate. This occurs as a result of being in a state of diminished nerve energy, subluxation. So if your nervous system isn't working right, your nervous system controls every cell, organ, and tissue in your body. Your organs, tissues, and cells aren't working right to eliminate its own waste. Biomechanical additives and or waste and toxic animal byproducts in your body cannot use. So eating trash, drinking soda, drinking or eating processed food, is sugar, animal byproducts. Makes your body acidic. We're going to get to that here in a second. And that,
animal byproducts like bologna and
like beef and chicken, that is henhouse raised in the dark with hormones and antibiotics, and are genetically built so they have bigger breasts because the breasts are sold more, is toxic animal byproducts that when they run them through the processor and they strip them down and then they float them through, you go to YouTube and you can look at this stuff, the way that they do the chickens, and then they float them through this sludge, and that sludge is actually their intestinal juice. So they're floating in their own junk, their own juice, their own bowel juice, as they float down the system, and that absorbs into their meat, into their skin. It actually gives it some taste, and that's what you're eating. But a free-range, antibiotic, hormone-free chicken will be different. Raised much like it was when the hunter and gatherer had access to his nutrition.
what about vitamins?
I've got a talk 2. This is talk 1. So let me stay on talk 1. I've got actually 3 parts because I could talk for 9 hours on this stuff.
Okay.
And vitamins are important, but why would I go to the gas station and I've got 4 hoses to choose off the rack? Let me pull the one with the worst amount of good gas in it, and then I got to run into Quick Trip and get an additive to put in my tank. That's a little bit about vitamins. Why don't I pull the best hose possible off the thing and put the best gas possible in my rig so it can run the best that it possibly can? Stop eating junk off your plate and start asking, well, what vitamins can I take to feel better? Start eating better food. An overly acidic diet that allows the microorganisms, yeast, molds, and fungus within your body and your bloodstream to proliferate. Okay, now we're going to get into some stuff about your body's chemistry. And by the way, yeast, molds, and funguses are what causes your cravings. Your cravings for your sugar, salt, and fat. It's the yeast, molds, and funguses, the freeloaders that live in your blood because your blood's acidic because you're eating crap diet. That's where they live, and that's what's causing your cravings in the first place. They feed on sugar, which is acid. Sugar burns as acid. I'm going to get to more of the acid stuff here in a second, so hang with me. I'm trying to make this come all the way around. Germs do not cause disease. It's a big shocker to a lot of people because they've been taught that. The #1 textbook on microbiology at Harvard states and makes it clear that germs are not cause of disease. Germs can only thrive in an environment that has been created that makes it possible. That's an acidic environment. Pierre Beachcamp. Anybody heard his name before? Probably not, because he wasn't a very good marketer. He was the one that originally developed microorganisms and talked about microorganisms and that they are not what causes a disease. Anybody been to New York? I've never been to New York. My wife has, but she said that like on the street, do they just throw their trash out on the curb? I mean, basically, and then they come and pick up the trash man comes and picks the trash up off the curb. In many places, true. So they go on trash strikes sometimes, and the trash builds up, and then the rats come. If I've never been to New York and I went there doing a trash strike and I went and I saw the rats at the trash, I could not be walking down the street and assume, look at these rats, these silly rats, they brought all this trash. But you'd be like, well, that's silly, Vince, that's not how it works. The trash was there first. The rats were the scavengers and they came second. That's what happens in our body. A bacteria is a scavenger. The trash is there first. By putting trash in your body, by having weakened tissue, the bacteria goes to eat up the weakened tissue. But when they first did autopsies and they cut people open and they look inside and they say, oh, look at the rats. The rats killed this person. The bacteria. The bacteria didn't kill them. The bacteria is scavengers. It was going to eat up the wasted tissue. It works symbiotically with our body to get stuff done. We have something called our normal flora. The normal flora is the bacteria that works with us, that breaks stuff down and works in your body. 2 pounds of your body weight is bacteria in your gut that's working with your body to get stuff done. The bacteria does all kinds of stuff. Number one of the things it does is it eats your fiber. And its waste is short-chain fatty acids, and that's what makes your gut wall stronger. If your flora is not balanced and your bacteria is not eating your fiber, your gut wall is weak. Then you have something called leaky gut syndrome. And if you have leaky gut syndrome, the toxicity that you're eating leaks through your gut and your body reacts to it like an autoimmune disorder. And it causes chronic fatigue and all kinds of other problems as well. Heard of Louis Pasteur before? Mm-hmm. Of course, because he was a good marketer. 8 years after Beach Camp discovered and did the stuff with microorganisms, Louis Pasteur came along and did the same thing. But on his deathbed, he agreed with Beach Camp, but Beach Camp, his statement was, it's not the seed, it's the soil. And on Pasteur's deathbed, he said, the microbe is nothing. The terrain is everything. You have to have weakened tissue first. Have to. The virus isn't even a living thing. To be a living thing, you have to be able to, you have to have cellular metabolism. A virus is a dead, attenuated, is just dead. It's just, they identify them by their shape. They look at them underneath a microscope and they say this is H1N1 or this one, this one, or this one. They give him a name by his shape. He doesn't reproduce. It's just a piece of fragment of protein. Viruses are not what cause disease. Dis-ease, lack of ease, lack of function, lack of balance. It's causing from subluxation and from the toxicity that you're putting in your body to make your body work overtime that it can't even eliminate because it's so toxic and built up. It's not the rats. It's nerve pressure and an acidic body. How does the body respond to toxicity? What if I took an alcoholic and I put him in the tank to detoxify him? What are his symptoms? Does he puke? Does he shiver? Does he have a headache? Does he diarrhea? Does he sweat? What's that doing? His body's trying to
Get rid of the toxin.
detoxify. Do you put him back on the sauce because he doesn't feel very good? You let his body detoxify. So if you're building up toxicity within your body, and it does happen slowly, and then eventually you get to a day where you feel sick, oh, I got the flu, and you feel joint pain and low energy and you can't sleep and your heart rate increases and you have a fever and you vomit and perspire and you don't feel very good. Is your body trying to detoxify? It's like filling up a glass. You know, the more stuff you put in, eventually it's got to overflow. It wasn't the first drop of water that went in there. It wasn't the last drop of water that was in there. It was all the drops of water accumulated that made it overflow. But then an event happens. You don't feel good. If it comes out your nose and your mouth, you'll call it a cold. I caught the cold. Oh, you didn't. Your body's trying to detoxify. Through its gut, through its nose, through its skin, through its urine. If it comes out your toes, you call it athlete's foot. If it comes out your groin, you don't want to tell anybody about it because that's embarrassing. So why would you take stuff to keep that in? Why would you want to take stuff to suppress your symptoms if your body's way to try to detoxify and get the stuff out? Why would you take stuff to suppress your symptoms and keep the stuff in? Is your body smart or stupid? Is it trying to get the stuff out? Is your body in a survival mode or thriving mode when it's trying to do this? It's in a survival mode. Do you do sick or get sick?